This time is different for Trump because he came after the elite. He came after the rich.
Keep it 100, I be feeling like Campbell soup over white rice. Baked chicken with the skin on. Yeah, Lowry's with black pepper. I'm fully seasoned with laughter.
What's good, 100%ers? It's your boy Dre, and welcome to my channel, Keep It 100 Dre. Yes, I'm wearing shades inside, and yes, they make me look cooler than I actually am. What I want to talk about today is it's very likely that Trump will go to prison after his term is up. Let's talk about it. So, George Carlin has a quote. Hopefully I don't butcher this because I didn't look it up right before the video, but I'm pretty sure I know it off top. He said, "It's all one big club and you ain't in it." When you screw over poor people, you get away with it scot-free. Absolutely nothing happens to you. When you screw over rich people, that's when they come for you. A perfect example of this is Steve Mnuchin. He's a former president of One West Bank. He illegally evicted millions of people, many of whom were elderly people, illegally. Kamala Harris was encouraged by her own office to go after him and prosecute him, but she decided not to. Why is that? It's because Steve Mnuchin donated to Kamala Harris's campaign, so she didn't go after him, even though he did illegal evictions of people. But you went after plenty of poor people. That's for another video. Steve Mnuchin now, he's the Treasury Secretary of the US in Donald Trump's cabinet. It's all one big club. These people, they all play for the same team, and it's Team Green. Donald Trump, he always wanted to be part of that team. He wanted to be part of the establishment. He's there financially somewhat, even though he's broke, but he's never been there socially. Probably because he's a maniac. He's always been the butt of the joke. That's why he ran for president, because Obama roasted him at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, where he was the butt of the joke. He wanted to fit in his entire life, but even his daddy didn't believe in him. Probably because he knew he is an idiot. He grew up with them. But once he became president, he was finally a part of that club. Policy-wise, he's honestly not much different from our previous presidents. He's not much different than Bill Clinton, who jailed the most blacks of any president in history. He's not much more different than Bush, who had massive tax cuts for the rich, and his financial deregulation led to the economic crash in the Great Recession of 2008. He's not much different than Obama, who deported the most immigrants in the history of any president by far. He's deported more immigrants than the next 5 presidents combined, including Donald Trump. And Obama even admits that his policies are of that of a 1980s Republican.
I don't know that there are a lot of Cubans or Venezuelans, Americans who believe that. The truth of the matter is that my policies are so mainstream that, you know, if I had said the same policies that I have back in the 1980s, I'd be considered a moderate Republican.
But the thing is, he should be loved by the Republican Party, hated by Democrats. All of them should be loved by the Republican Party. But we live in a very backwards world. All of those presidents, they govern like Republicans, but people love or hate them based on their team that they're not even part of, they're fans of. If you don't have money, you're not influential, you're not a part of that team. I really need you to understand that. Initially, Joe Biden said he will let his Department of Justice decide if they want to go after Donald Trump. And he said his administration would not force the Department of Justice to go after Donald Trump. I guess he followed the Obama model of all crimes are in the past, which is the logic he used not to prosecute George Bush for his war crimes. That way of thinking is so stupid, backwards, and nonsensical, it makes no sense whatsoever. Every single crime is committed in the past. If I go stand in the middle of 5th Avenue and shoot somebody, 1 second later, that crime was literally in the past. How does that make any sense?
Where I could stand in the middle of 5th Avenue and shoot somebody and I wouldn't lose any voters, okay? It's like incredible.
It makes none whatsoever. So that's what Biden said he is going to do initially. I guess with Obama's logic, no one should ever go to prison because every crime was in the past. This time is different for Trump because he came after the elite. He came after the rich. His constant incitement of violence, his use of stochastic terrorism, the word of the day in the last video that I made, it caused the Capitol building terrorist attack. Not riots, you can call it riots. It was not Capitol building protesters. Like I said before, they weren't protesters. They were looters, they were rioters, they were terrorists. That's what they were. So his use of stochastic terrorism caused the Capitol building terrorist attack where there's many, many rich people. The average US senator is worth over $11 million as of 2011. I couldn't find any updated figures for the average. The average American household, which is the average size of 3.5 people, is 97,000. That's a household of 3 people. So that's roughly, I'm not that good at math, but I'd say roughly 27K. So Congress is significantly more wealthy, have much more of a net worth than the average household. That's why I don't care about you. That's why you're not in the club. As of right now, the state of New York is thoroughly investigated Trump's tax fraud. There's many investigations open on it. It's highly likely that he's going to get brought up on the state crime. And the president, even if they wanted to, could not get pardoned from state crimes. They can only be pardoned from federal crimes. Donald Trump has been a crook his whole life, so it's very likely he's going to get brought up on something, especially since he messed with the rich this time. Even though Joe Biden initially said he won't have his administration prosecute Trump, that's probably going to change after Donald Trump went after the rich. Because that's the only time it matters. All you have to do is compare Steve Mnuchin, the guy who went after the poor, illegally evicted millions of poor people from their homes in 2008, compared to Bernie Madoff, who scammed the rich. He's in prison for the rest of his life. That's the difference. They don't let you get away with going after the rich. And that's what Trump did. Him having committed many crimes, they no longer view him part of that club since he went after him. He's now their enemy. The same way Bernie Madoff was. And they're going to get him for that. That's all I have to say in this video. I really appreciate y'all watching. I have another one coming up very soon. Please watch the last video about the Capitol Hill terrorists, how the police treat them compared to how they treat peaceful Black Lives Matter protesters. If you really like the video, like and subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate you watching it. I'm going to leave you with one more thing for today, and that's the word of the day. The word of the day is plutocracy. Plutocracy is spelled Plutocracy. The definition of plutocracy is a country or society governed by the wealthy. And that's what we live in today. Now I'm going to attempt to use plutocracy in a sentence. America has been a plutocracy for several decades. The rich control every single aspect of our lives. And I'm going to leave a study about that in the link in the description below. Again, if you like the video, like and subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate it. 100%ers. Members only. It's one big club. Peace.
That will never, ever, ever be fixed. It's never going to get any better. Don't look for it. Be happy with what you got. Because the owners of this country don't want that. I'm talking about the real owners now. The real owners, the big wealthy business interests that control things and make all the important decisions. Forget the politicians. The politicians are put there to give you the idea that you have freedom of choice. You don't. You have no choice. You have owners. They own you. They own everything. They own all the important land. They own and control the corporations. They've long since bought and paid for the Senate, the Congress, the state houses, the city halls. They got the judges in their back pockets. And they own all the big media companies, so they control just about all of the news and information you get to hear. They got you by the balls. They spend billions of dollars every year lobbying to get what they want. Well, we know what they want. They want more for themselves and less for everybody else. But I'll tell you what they don't want. They don't want a population of citizens capable of critical thinking. They don't want well-informed, well-educated people capable of critical thinking. They're not interested in that. That doesn't help them. That's against their interest. That's right. They don't want people who are smart enough to sit around the kitchen table and figure out how badly they're getting fucked by a system that threw them overboard 30 fucking years ago. They don't want that. You know what they want? They want obedient workers. Obedient workers. People who are just smart enough to run the machines and do the paperwork and just dumb enough to passively accept all these increasingly shittier jobs with the lower pay, the longer hours, the reduced benefits, the end of overtime, and the vanishing pension that disappears the minute you go to collect it. And now they're coming for your Social Security money. They want your fucking retirement money. They want it back so they can give it to their criminal friends on Wall Street. And you know something? They'll get it. They'll get it all from you sooner or later because they own this fucking place. It's a big club, and you ain't in it. You and I are not in the big club. And by the way, it's the same big club they use to beat you over the head with all day long when they tell you what to believe. All day long, beating you over the head in their media, telling you what to believe, what to think, and what to buy. The table is tilted, folks. The game is rigged. And nobody seems to notice. Nobody seems to care. Good, honest, hard-working people, white collar, blue collar, doesn't matter what color shirt you have on. Good, honest, hard-working people continue. These are people of modest means. Continue to elect these rich cocksuckers who don't give a fuck about them. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't give a fuck about you. They don't care about you at all. At all. At all. Man, you know? And nobody seems to notice, nobody seems to care. That's what the owners count on, the fact that Americans will probably remain willfully ignorant of the big red, white, and blue dick that's being jammed up their assholes every day. Because the owners of this country know the truth. It's called the American dream, because you have to be asleep to believe it.
Please forgive me for the calls that I missed. I blame the stew like I can't talk for a bit. And yeah, my mama know I love her, but sometimes I get mad like why the f we had to struggle, why the f we wasn't rich. And then I sit and think of how we went from house to house. She gave us heaven with no income. I grab a plant with all thorns. If you tell me why I had to see my daddy leave and really what it stemmed from.